When the sun dips down below the horizon, shadows begin to grow longer, and eventually darkness surrounds us all. Night can be the spookiest and scariest time, offering up plenty of darkness for creatures and monsters to hide within. It's no surprise that most horror happens when the moon is high in the sky, and of course, SCPs often do their creepiest stuff in the dark. So today we're counting down the top 5 SCP monsters that come at night. Let's do it. Coming in at number 5, we've got SCP-1353. Ready for some skin-crawling goodness? Excellent. Most folks have some sort of aversion to bugs. Even if you're not a hardcore entomophobe, I'm sure there's been a point in your life where you looked at something small, leggy, and covered in crunchy chitin and shuddered uncontrollably. They're just so different. It's probably what makes stuff like the Metamorphosis and the Fly so compelling. We see bugs and we do not want to be them. But what if you just woke up one day and there was something totally different going on inside of you? Well, SCP-1353 can make that happen, and how they do it will make you want to stay awake for the rest of time. See, these things are weird little needle-felted sculptures closely resembling centipedes. They can move around with their dozens of legs and often grow up to 50 centimeters long. Seeking out sleeping humans, instances of SCP-1353 will then cut out a little hole in them and enter their body. Using venom that acts as a local anesthetic, these creepy crawlies manage to make their way deep into their victim. Interestingly enough, once inside, they don't seem to cause any damage or pain. Some folks hypothesize that they generate minor spatial anomalies to make this happen. After about a week, any evidence of these horrific little bugs disappears, and they seem to go dormant. If this was the extent of it, it wouldn't be all that bad. The knowledge that there's a 50-centimeter bug somewhere inside you is horrifying, yes, but it's not that bad if they're undetectable and mostly harmless. But here's the thing. You know the warm fuzzies folks describe when talking about nostalgia? It's a generally nice feeling. Well, if you've been entered by one of these centipedes, you can forget ever enjoying a rose-tinted evening of longing for the past ever again. Because whenever you feel nostalgia from then on, they reactivate and start wriggling around in your abdomen. No thank you. Folks who have found out they're infected tend to spend the rest of their lives avoiding feeling nostalgic at all costs. Yikes. They were originally found in a box somewhere paired with this little note. And this, while apparently attempting to be friendly and heartwarming, is extra creepy. It reads, "Congratulations, you found my box, friend. I am giving to this city lots of friends to mend. These furry friends that I've made love you, though they hide, and they will gladly hug you from the inside." Hugs from bugs on your insides. Yeah, that's not good. Coming in at number 4, we've got SCP-1779. Watch your coins, alright? If you want to do your laundry anytime soon, this nocturnal creature might make things a little difficult. Kind of like a tiny dragon hoarding all sorts of treasure, SCP-1779 is a tiny lizard-like creature who subsists entirely on metal currency. The type of currency doesn't really matter. If it's a coin, it'll eat it. The type of metal fed to the creature will affect its growth, with easily tarnished metals resulting in smaller instances and more robust ones ending up with bigger beasts. Pretty strange, right? So these little coin eaters pile up all sorts of nickels and dimes and hide away in giant bowl-shaped piles, warding off those who might come to collect their treasure. Given enough time, and if they manage to reproduce often enough, we might have to seriously consider the implications of all these coins disappearing. Although we're well on the way to digital currency taking over anyway, but hey, who knows what SCP-1779 might do if coins were totally phased out? Well, moving on to the physical makeup of these anomalies, one would assume that they'd be pretty metallic if they only consumed coins, which is mostly true with a strange exception. Their skeletons are entirely composed of metals, usually the ones they've been observed consuming, but the rest of their makeup is non-metallic flesh. They're scaleless and have feathery manes around their shoulders, but their waste is essentially metallic dust. Huh. Thankfully, they tend to leave humans well alone unless they find plenty of coins nearby. Even then, they tend to avoid contact with other species. Although, in true Foundation fashion, a group of researchers push the limits of these creatures. Usually, over a lifetime of scavenging coins, instances of 1779 grow to be about half a meter, maybe a little less. This seems to be the perfect size, as they can remain mobile, avoid detection, and have their little coin-eating babies. But Foundation researchers essentially force-fed a large sum of coins to one of them to see how big it would grow. They ended up with a 12.5 meter long lizard who weighed more than 1,400 kilograms. The amount of currency it ingested, along with the stuff it keeps in its dragon's den, amounts to about $12,000 in change and something like 3.5 million in gold and silver. And it gets really aggressive if you try to take any of it away. Talk about a real money pit. Coming in at number 3, we've got SCP-1000. If you're a cryptid enthusiast, you probably already know this, but I'll keep everyone in the loop here. Bigfoot is nocturnal. Crazy, right? Folks who go Bigfoot hunting end up in the dense forest, knocking on trees and making calls into the dark. Why would you want to face down an enormous hairy humanoid in the dark? Well, it beats me. But if you do want to run into Bigfoot, keep an eye out at night. Be careful. See, the Foundation has discovered that big feet are very similar to humans in many ways. However, they've got some sort of genetic pseudo-disease going on that makes them extra dangerous. Any human who lays eyes on an instance of SCP-1000 has the chance of dying immediately. The longer you're exposed, the higher the risk rises. Uh-oh. So being out at night near big feet might end up killing you even if the beast doesn't. Worse yet, that insta-kill disease story is a cover-up. It actually turns out that humans were once the inferior species, with Bigfoots being the ones taking up space at the top. They had insane amounts of technology that worked in ways we could never understand. But one day, a strange event happened, relegating SCP-1000 to the periphery and flipping all of their advances over to the humans. For some reason, humans don't remember any of this happening, and we just assume Bigfoot is a myth. But the big feet remember, and they want back on top. So maybe they will come at night and take back what's theirs. Sleep with one eye open. Coming in at number 2, we've got SCP-631. You will never see this one coming. Get it? Wait, actually, I haven't explained it yet. Hold on, you'll get it in a second. SCP-631 is a strange creature, vaguely crustacean with wings like a bat and a big lizard-like tail with a deadly barb at the end. When exposed to sunlight, they disappear off the visual spectrum, just like that. And based on what we know about them, they spend most of their time during the day flying. So they're invisible and off the ground during the day, so they're pretty hard to find. When night comes though, they start to panic. For whatever reason, they really don't like it at night, but they stay active and search for human prey. If they find a sleeping human, instances of SCP-631 will hit them in the throat with their stinger, injecting them full of paralytic venom. Once the person dies, the creature eats all of their internal organs and replaces them with its eggs. Then, after completing this awful injection, the creature dies. The eggs only need about an hour to hatch, and when they do, the little crab lizard bat things will eat the rest of the host body and enter their growth phase. This is when they essentially stay still for a few hours and grow really fast. The lifespan of these things is around 24 hours, so they gotta find their prey quickly. But they make quick work of any humans they find and are impossible to see during the day, so I don't see them stopping what they're doing anytime soon. And finally, at number 1, we've got SCP-939. This is a classic entry. Big, fleshy, nocturnal blood wolves that can imitate human speech to lure people in and eat them. SCP-939 is just so wicked cool, and super dangerous considering how closely they can actually imitate human speech. At one point, the Foundation had to remove all voice-activated tech at the facility in which 939 instances were being kept because these pack predators kept taking advantage of it. They used these human voices to activate all of the security measures. Incredible. Worse yet, these cave-dwelling monsters produce an amnestic gas, leading to anyone who encounters them being unable to form memories during the whole experience. Sometimes this aerosolized amnestic causes hallucinations too. So all in all, a terrifying creature who can act like a human, sound like a human, make you forget things, and make you hallucinate. Add in bite force exceeding 35 megapascals and you've got a monster that will kill you with no hesitation. And one last thing, because I couldn't figure out how to seamlessly integrate it into the script before, they don't have any internal organs for some reason. So they're really strange. The Foundation doesn't know where they came from or how they reproduce, but they are terrifying. We'll figure out their purpose someday, but for now you better watch out. So get your flashlights charged up, alright? Make sure your go bags are ready for when things get hairy. Just make sure that you know the lay of the land before you go off running into the dark. SCPs that come at night are extra freaky, especially as most of them are adapted for low light hunting. So what'd you think of the list? Would you rather these come during the day? What nocturnal SCPs did I miss? What's your favorite SCP that thrives at night? Make sure you let me know down in the comments. Speaking of comments, let's take a look at some of your more intricate ones from the top 5 modern horror cult classics. Keymaster 2000 says the Hatchet trilogy is so good. I say trilogy even though there's a 4th one, but that ruins the ending of the original 3, so we don't talk about it. So many horror actors that appear in those movies. A whole lot of love for Hatchet in the comments section, so we'll pin it on to the end of the list. Horror Stories with the Baron says, I feel like failing to include the Velocipaster will not age well. Time will vindicate that mess. Well, time does heal all wounds now, doesn't it? Tomiko65 says, Kurt Russell is not in the It Comes at Night, it's Joel Edgerton. Yeah, I think you might have misinterpreted what I was saying there. I was saying that The Thing had Kurt Russell and It Comes at Night didn't, but hey. Sarah Wybrenner says, love your walls, my friend. And I love them too. They keep the snow out. And that's all the time we have for today. I'm going to be nice to a stranger on the internet. It should be the first time it ever happened, so we'll see how it goes. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. No, that doesn't make any sense. The context of this SCP. Why did I write that? After about a week, any evidence of these horrific little bugs disappear. I'm about to sneeze. And I just realized now I'm reading this poem that I copy and pasted, and they capitalize certain letters and it spells out love us. So talk about, nope.